people on the outside are not even conscious of the fact that, you know, me coming out, I'm more scared of you, because I realized that at the drop of a hat, you know, you can have me right back in that situation no matter what, even if I didn't do anything, by virtue of the fact that I have been incarcerated for an extensive period of time. You know, you can have me right back.
I was incarcerated for 20 and a half years.
I would say I spent over 33 years of my life incarcerated for 10 years.
22 years in adult prison and 3 years in juvenile detention.
I was charged for armed robberies first and second degree, and in both bids.
Conspiracy to distribute crack cocaine.
Felony murder for the adult incarceration, and robbery. You know, we were robbing trucks for juvenile.
I spent a straight 15 years for a federal drug conspiracy that I ran in North Carolina.
Went to rob this guy, a gentleman in the neighborhood, and the guy looked at us and it was like, are you kids serious? You kids are gonna rob me? So I had the weapon in my hand, and he tried to take the weapon from me. And at that point, I didn't know it was one of those air trigger weapons. So when he tried to take it with me, the gun dislodged. We never even robbed the guy, we ran.
What led me into that path that got me into prison was, I would say, a combination of things that I'm just really realizing.
One of the reasons was I had a very low level self-esteem. They used to call me Bigfoot.
I come from a two-parent household, very good morals, very good values.
I'll never forget, you know, in one of those group homes that I was in, the counselors, you know, they were like really, really abusive.
No father at home. My mom, she was working all day, so the opportunity presented itself.
So when it would come to hanging out with the guys, I was always the most, you know, dangerous. I was always the one that took the most risks, just to kind of like outshine everybody.
When I went into those group homes, I learned about robbery, I learned about guns, you know, I learned about gangs, I learned so much stuff in those group homes that, for the most part, it basically showed me how to become a career criminal.
I'm a product of my choices, not my environment.
Being part of subculture and wanting to do stick-ups and robberies, it was a thrill. It was something different, you know. I'm not, again, not proud of that, but, you know, that was part of my, you know, part of my youth.
My first day of prison was sort of like a relief. It was like a, it's over.
When I realized that I was locked up in prison for 20 years, it was in 1982, and I can remember that as if that was yesterday.
The tension in the air was so thick that you can really feel it. You never really knew when something was going to happen, whether somebody was going to get stabbed, somebody was going to get beat up, somebody was going to get killed.
Human nature is very resilient. No matter where we are put at, we adapt. We shut down certain senses, other senses kick up and become more, you know, acute, more aware.
I'm jogging in the yard, and over the loudspeaker, that's how when people get visits from the outside, they call your name over the loudspeaker. And I heard them call a number. The number they called was 62A, you know, 0078. That's how profound I remember that number to this day, and I stopped in my tracks.
You never knew when it might be your turn that you had a situation that might cause you bodily harm, or you might have to do bodily harm to someone else.
And I was ready to do whatever the time I had to do to get it behind me.
62A, and this was 1982. They just called a number for somebody that's been in there since 1962. And I was born in 1962. So I couldn't conceptualize that.
Survival for me was one of those. Surviving without losing the essence of who I was. Not allowing the environment to dictate. you know, who I was.
I immediately stopped running and went directly to the officer's booth and said, I need a pass. He said, where? I said, to the law library. So my friend is like, yo, what's wrong? I said, man, what's wrong? I got 20 years to life. That man been in here since 1962. This is 1982. That means these people gonna keep me in here for 20 years. He was like, yeah, what you thought?
I came in thinking, oh, I'll probably get 5 or 10 years. And then you facing something, they say 10 to life. Well, what do you mean by life?
Nobody told me that in the streets. When I was doing all those other things, even when I was in the juvenile detention centers, no one ever said to me that, yo, listen, they keep people in there for life.
But what I learned as I was going through my incarceration is even though you're incarcerated, time is your life. So it's what you do at the time that's more important.
Doing time instead of time doing me.
I was blessed because somewhere along the line, I understood what I had was one of the most valuable commodities, and that was time.
When I actually walked out, whoa.
It wasn't like one of those things for me, but it was like, I'm free. I'm back with my family.
I was ready. I was ready to face the world. All of the things that I've learned while I was in prison, that if I applied them to my life, that I would be all right. I was excited.
And I'm standing there and I couldn't move. I'm just, you know, I didn't know what to do. I'm standing there. I'm just standing on the corner with this bag of nothing but legal papers. I was like, wow, everybody know I just came home from jail. And all of a sudden, I wanted to just crawl under a rock.
It was refreshing. It was nerve-wracking. Now, you just finished talking and asking me the question of, when I'm incarcerated, am I thinking about the streets, right? Now I'm outside and I'm actually thinking about the prison.
They process us in prison, but we are never processed out of prison.
Oh, I'm free. I'm free right now, for sure. Free from all the junk and all the stuff that was in your life.
Freedom means just having a peace of mind.
Yeah, I'm free. Yes, I am.